Welcome to the Adventure Brothers podcast, where me, Alexander, and my brother,
Jayvian,
will recount adventures that we have been on and adventures that we will go on. The structure of this podcast is slightly different than what it will form into. These first two episodes will be recounting our trip across the entire state that we grew up and live in, Vermont. And in the future, the way that it will work is it'll be the same intro, meet, outro. In the intro, we will let you know where we are going and what we are bringing and who will be with us. The meat of the podcast will be either us recounting the trip or the recording of us actually being out there on the adventure. And the outro will be what we learned and possible next adventures. But the way that this one is set up is this is a two-part series. The first part, which is this podcast, will be the first 117 miles and which is also the first 13 days of our 31-day long trail trip, the 272 miles from the southern tip of Vermont to the northernmost part, right up against Canada. We take you through our home state and let you know a little bit about us. Without further ado, here is the podcast. Here we are. I think a good place to start would be talking about our state, the state of Vermont. If you've never been to Vermont, it's a land of porch sitters and green trees.
Enough said right there.
Yeah, Vermont in French means green mountains. It is the Green Mountain State, and it holds true to that from the north to the south. The Long Trail is a footpath through 272 miles of wilderness, going the length of Vermont, north to south or south to north. We hiked the trail in 2017, starting on July 15th, and we headed from the southern terminus north. When our first day was spent hiking from Pine Cobble Hill, which is in Massachusetts, to Congdon Shelter, 13 miles. Something to preface this is that how many miles have you hiked before the Long Trail?
You know, occasionally I went and got the mail down the road.
So 0.4?
0.4.
0.4 miles? Okay. Well, I grew up hiking a lot and being in the woods, and I attempted the Long Trail in 2015, although gear-wise was not prepared in the slightest. So all three of us who started this journey started July 15th, like I stated, and headed 13 miles to the first shelter. We get about 10 miles in, and I look at my brother here, and it doesn't look too good.
I was not feeling good.
What was the first instance that you noticed that you were, fatigued is a good word for it?
At first, I honestly was just thinking I was exhausted. I thought it was normal. And then Brandon, the guy we were hiking with, he looks at me, tells me I'm not looking good, and I instantly, I felt horrible.
Horrible.
It kicked in.
Yeah, my first instance of seeing that he was not doing 100%, not being completely himself was, he just had this kind of blank stare. And
yeah.
Then I was like, okay, we should probably take a break here. Brandon hiked ahead, so we stopped, and this is at the 10-mile mark. It had been a beautiful day, though. I mean,
yeah,
hiking up until then was awesome. Beautiful country, just greenery and tons of Pine Cobble Hill. It was littered with chipmunks. So many chipmunks.
We had wild blueberries.
Wild blueberries that day. But at the 10-mile mark, when he was looking awfully fatigued, I told him that we should take a break, so we take like a 10-minute break, and he sits down on the ground, and he is staring off into the forest with the 1,000-yard stare.
Is oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last thing I remember before that was looking at my arm, and I have two like freckles. They're like 3 inches apart. They were about 1 inch apart. Like I was hallucinating. It was not good. I was leaning on my trekking poles.
Yeah, when I assessed the situation from my standing position, seeing him sitting on the ground, and I thought to myself, we're 10 miles in, we're not going 10 miles out. We're getting to the shelter, so I've got to figure out the best way to get us to that shelter. So the best way that I could think of was I didn't want him carrying his pack, because somebody who's never hiked carrying 30 plus pounds, I mean, it's exhausting. It's definitely...
You're telling me?
Right. Right. So I decided I told him, I was like, look, the shelter is pretty close. Mind you, it wasn't. I'll take your backpack and I'll carry it. You just make sure that you're feeling better, get some water. And we'll just hike the short amount of distance.
Yeah, every corner was the shelter.
Yeah.
According to you.
Yeah. So I bear hugged his 30-pound pack, had my 30-pound pack on my back, and just started chugging along. We make it over the first rise, and he's like, this corner? I was like, no, it's the next corner. The next corner comes. Is it this one? It's after the river. Once we see the river, we'll know that we're really close. We see the river. It's close, right? Yeah. It's just up here and to the left.
I'm believing you the whole time.
And 3 miles later, we get to the shelter. We stumble in. I give him his pack before we fully got there, just to instill a little bit of pride. That way people didn't see me just carrying his pack.
Yeah.
We get there, and it was a good time. I want to backtrack just slightly. When we got to the terminus, which is the sign that states you are starting the long trail, which we had to get through, I think, like 2 to 3 miles of hiking until we got there.
Yeah, it was 3.2.
3.2 miles until we got to the terminus. The first hikers that we met were sitting right there on the terminus. Now, if you didn't already know, the Appalachian Trail is a footpath that runs from Georgia to Maine, and it intersects with the Vermont Long Trail, which is at this point. So these two hikers, their trail names, and we'll get to trail names later, their trail names were Acaticus and Captain Jack. They were really friendly. They had a lot of good advice to give us, which we really needed, it being fairly fresh on the trail. And they were great people, just leisurely hiking. They didn't have any like rush in them. They were the way that they said it is, the closer they get to the end, the closer they get to going back to a real job. And I definitely felt that sentiment. And so
they were hiking around with 55-pound packs. Remember that?
Yeah, they were sitting on packs that looked like the size of lawn chairs. Not thin either.
Joke.
They were like sitting up on these things. If you're watching the video aspect of this podcast, there's a picture that'll be floating by, either already or at some point here, of them. We get to the shelter and start to calm down. Did you feel a little better?
Yeah, honestly, after you took my backpack, I threw up.
Yeah.
That was...
Yeah, he threw up right where we, braked at 10 miles.
Mm-hmm. It was like an instant switch. It was like I just needed to do that.
Yep.
And I felt pretty good.
Yep. And so when we get to the first shelter, which was Congdon Shelter, Captain Jack and Acaticus, they pulled out their mini guitar that they were carrying with them, and they played a really good tune called, I don't know the exact name, but it's like, I'm a good old hiker. Yeah. I'm a good old hiker, and that's just what I am. And I forgot the rest right now. But real quick, because we have this book, I think that it would be beneficial for people listening to read from this small book. It's called Place Names on the Vermont Long Trail. So as we go to each shelter, I'll read a little bit from this book about the shelter itself. So night 1 was on Congdon Shelter. It says here that Congdon Shelter is at 2,080 feet. This shelter in the town of Woodford was a gift from the Congdon family. It was given in memory of Herbert Wheaton Congdon, a long trail pioneer, trail builder, and map maker. So Herbert Wheaton Congdon apparently was a pioneer of the Long Trail, and he helped build the trail as well as marker it in the beginning stages of its building. That's pretty neat little knowledge.
Yeah, I actually didn't even know that.
Yeah, the shelter itself is very comfortable. All of these shelters are pretty small. They're so specifically in Congdon. Picture a larger lean-to with a picnic table in the center and 2 bunks on either side. These bunks are about 2 people wide, 3 people if you really had to. And we just shacked together. Did me and
Brandon set up his tent that first night.
Did he?
Yeah, because he was out back, remember? Because it was just me and you on the right side, bottom bunk. And then we had, I don't know who was there. We met some people there that we, like, northbounders.
Oh, that's right. I'm going to read off some of the trail names. We'll get to the full list later, but these are some of the people.
the Nobo.
Yeah, these are some of the people that we met on at this place. So Acaticus, Captain Jack, we already went over. We met Rocketeer, Cuckoo, Shoe Bear, Nobo the Sobo, and Posticide. These are all names of people. Like, this is what you refer to them. And we got some trail names ourselves, but that happened the following day. The feeling that I had when we got to this camp was just, it was pure enjoyment. There was little pressure. There's about 12 plus people, all with a common goal of just being out and enjoying the sights and hiking. And there was no pressure from anybody. You could just eat, make food whenever you wanted.
It was like everybody was on the same page.
Yeah, everybody was on the same page. Everybody's self-reliant. Nobody is asking you to do anything. In fact, you don't offer food. You don't, like, it's basically understood that everybody's independent out here. You're carrying as much food as you need and no more. You're carrying as much water as you need and no more. And not in a rude way either, just in a self-sufficient way. When we woke up the next day, we kind of just got to it. We picked up and we just started hiking. So the first day was 13 miles. The second day was 14.5, almost 15 miles. Now, even somebody who's hiked a lot, this is 15 miles when you're coming off of rusty legs. That's no joke. But I think what helped us this day is that, and I can reference the map as well. We got about 1, 2, 3, 4. We got only about 5 miles, and then we hitchhiked into Bennington. It's there that we stayed the night before we started the long trail with Brandon, his sister, and her husband. So we hitchhiked into town, which was about 5 miles. We got a ride immediately from some guy who was running the trails, and people are very friendly in hiker towns, and regardless, people are very friendly in Vermont anyway. So we got into Bennington, and you should have seen us. Kid in a candy store. You would have thought that we were just castaway like Tom Hanks, and we just got out. Yeah. We go from store to store. We're like, oh man, we're overspending. We're just like
buying that, buying this, eating that.
We had only been one day in the woods. But it was a good time. It was fun. We ate at the Bennington Pizza House. We got big grinders. Hung out on a lawn, charged some of our electronics, and then we got a ride. Did Ryan give us a ride?
Yeah, we actually walked up to their house. They gave us the chives.
Oh, that's right. We got
scallions.
Scallions? Yeah, scallions, which is the piece that comes off of a garlic stalk. They own a garlic farm, so that's something that they kicked our way. And then, yeah, they were kind enough to give us another ride back the 5 miles up to the trail, which we continued hiking. So from Bennington to Goddard Shelter, which is up Glastonbury Mountain, which is a formidable mountain. It's all uphill. As soon as we started off of Route 9 up the hill, up the long trail towards Goddard Shelter, there's only one section that's downhill. It looks like maybe 2, but it didn't feel that way at all. So it was just straight up, man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10.5 by the looks of this map. Uphill to Goddard Shelter. Now, since we're at Goddard Shelter, let me read real quick a little passage about Goddard Shelter. 3,560 feet in Division 2 of the Long Trail. Located on Glastonbury Mountain, the shelter was built in 1985 and named for Ted Goddard, former president and treasurer of the Green Mountain Club and past president of the Bennington section. Goddard Shelter was rebuilt in 2005. A plaque attached to the shelter honors the memory of Sean P. Keenan, whose family generously supported the rebuilding. Let me pile through my journal because I actually believe, I may be mistaken, but I believe I wrote down what the plaque actually said. What was your experience once we got up to Goddard Shelter?
I remember we got there pretty early. So we set up like a small camp. We claimed our spot. I think I left for a little bit and just read.
You did?
Yeah, because remember we did get there early, like afternoon.
Yeah, I think so. I remember that we had the steak to cook.
Oh yeah, yeah. But I went because I almost saw the fire tower up there.
Yes.
Way down.
Yep.
Kind of. I went to that.
You went to the fire tower?
I didn't go up in it. There was
but
people,
but you walked to it
yeah,
that day?
That. Yep.
Oh wow. I didn't realize that we were up there for that long. Checking my notes here. It doesn't appear that I was accurate. I didn't write down what was on the plaque. But the plaque essentially said who it was dedicated to, and that they loved and appreciated the forest and the trails and were always on it. It was more eloquently stated on the actual plaque. But if you ever get a chance to go up there, it's one of my favorite shelters on the whole trail. Everybody that night was packed in. There is this style shelter. We'll actually have, if you're watching the video portion, we'll have I don't think we have a full video, but we have a picture of it, and you'll be able to get the layout of it. But it's a wide, flat, floor-like raised section that fit. There was us 3, Pip the Wet Walker, and then I'd say like 4 or 5 other people.
I remember counting, I think 12 people.
Yeah.
Because Earbud came in.
Yep.
That's where we met Earbud.
Yeah, we met Earbud, which was awesome. He's a cool cat. Even though he was wearing the heaviest looking hiker boots, man.
Oh, yeah.
Man. There's some mistakes that we make as like new hikers and stuff like that, but one of the worst ones in my opinion is heavy boots.
Yeah.
They say like 1 pound on your feet is 5 pounds on your back, meaning that you're swinging it, and so it takes like more effort to actually like pick up and swing. My shoes were Solomon Trail Runners, and they worked absolutely wonderfully. In fact, I still have them, and I still wear them today, over a year later.
I had Michelin tire shoes.
Michelin tires.
I thought it was a good idea in the beginning.
I mean, hey, dude, I didn't want to sway you or Brandon's decisions on shoes.
I love the shoes. They just weren't lasting very long.
Right.
Flossed together by the end of the trip.
Flossed. Yep.
Literally.
Floss is a great tool. Definitely carry it if you're if you're listening to this and getting ideas about the long trail and what to do, we might do a separate section just on advice and tips. So anyway, Goddard Shelter, we had a frozen steak at the start of the trail, and by this point it had thawed out and was still cold. So to be generous to everybody else, we hiked away from them.
Yep.
We didn't split it. We weren't generous in that sense.
We just didn't let them smell it.
We just didn't let them smell it. We made sure that we were downwind, and yep.
We hiked a good mile out, I think.
Yeah, we hiked a good ways out, and man, that mountain, Glastonbury Mountain, it has a creepiness to it that you only get in a moss-covered forest, where sound doesn't quite penetrate. You feel like if you got lost and started yelling, if somebody wasn't 100 yards away, they wouldn't hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a little. It's an eerie mountain. I like it, but it's eerie. After that, we woke up, and now day 3. This is when I felt we start getting our legs on us. We start like
Hiker legs.
We're starting singing. We're walking.
Yeah, coming up with our own lingo, crushing flats.
Oh yeah, we're crushing the flats, man.
Yeah.
That refers to we wouldn't take any breaks if it was on a flat section at all. If it was flat or downhill, we would crush them. We would do long strides, deliberate like footsteps, and we would just crush them.
Yep.
We didn't get exhausted. We were doing what's called like active recovery, where you're taking like deep breaths and you're focusing on your like stride, and you're focusing on like everything that you're doing. And you may be exhausted. You may be like climbing uphill gradually, but if you can breathe deeply into your diaphragm and do it that way, then you just start to recover, and your body starts to build up like the idea that, oh, okay, we're not getting like a no movement rest right now. We're actually hiking the whole day, so time to recover now.
Yep.
Day 3 was 12 miles from Glastonbury Mountain to Stratton Arlington Road. There is something notable in between this and Stratton Arlington Road, though, and that's getting cell service.
Oh, yes.
This is well worth watching the video, because what we had to go through in order to find cell service is absurd.
So absurd.
Mind you, we're at the top of a rise, so in our mind, there should have been the ability to get a tower somewhere, but there wasn't. I climbed dozens of trees, not dozens, but a dozen trees, and I climbed as high up as I could, which was too high in my opinion.
Definitely sketchy.
3 days in, about to break my leg.
Yeah. On the side of a trail.
On the side of a trail, climbing a tree, trying to get cell service. But what ended up working was tinfoil shaped into a satellite dish and held with the phone in the middle of it, turning slowly and calling each time to see if we got service. And eventually we did, and I just held it right there, and the service stayed.
Yeah, we went from nothing to like 3 bars. We had pretty good. We were getting calls. We were calling people.
Yep. We ended up securing 3 rooms at the Green Mountain House in Manchester Center, which was essential because they only had 3 left. And this is a hiker hostel that we had been told we have to stay at.
Yeah.
Which we did, and it was well worth it. We'll get to that in the next day. Actually 2 days from now. And a couple things to know is that Jayvian here, you had to go home for a little bit. You had to take care of some stuff for a day, which is why we were going to Stratton Arlington Road, and we were going to camp out on the road, and he was going to get picked up the following day, and that's why we had to call. We had to get a hold of his friends who, for lack of a better term, I mean, I won't even down talk them, but it didn't seem like they were getting the directions, even though we were clearly stating them, but everything worked out. And so we get down to Stratton Arlington Road. There's a local there, and she told us about this monument spot down the road, which wasn't on our maps, and it was actually a really serene place. That was the first night that we set up our tent, our Echo 2 Hyperlight mountain gear. Beautiful tent, 2-person. We only pitched it 3 times on the trail.
If that.
I think 2 times.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
2 or 3. But it was worth it anyway.
Honestly, this being our first time, it was easy to set up.
Yeah, it was easy to set up. And so we hung out that night, woke up the next morning. I knew that he was going to head off, so I didn't have to pack up the tent. I headed out earlier than everybody else. About like, you said it was like 6 o'clock.
It definitely was.
Yeah, it was as soon as the sun rose. And Stratton Mountain, man. From Stratton Arlington Road to the top of Stratton Mountain is 3.8 miles. And I'm telling you what, I crushed those 3.8 miles like nobody's business. I took one break that whole way up, and it was only a short, like 2-minute break, if that. I just felt so good. We had just hiked for several days. We actually had better food at this point. Actually, we didn't have better food at this point. We were still working off of day one with quinoa.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Oh my gosh, quinoa. And I bought this steak seasoning for our steak, which ended up being like the worst quinoa seasoning. It made me hate quinoa, and now I thought it was a good idea, just like on paper. It's like, oh, it eats like rice, but cooks a lot shorter of the time. And yeah, I won't be doing that again. But I had to sacrifice a lot food-wise on the trail because, I mean, I just couldn't eat anything healthy. You can't carry as much healthy food as you need. So it went from healthy eating to Fritos and wraps. Tuna was really good, though. I like tuna.
Tuna wraps, yeah.
Solid white albacore tuna, not light tuna.
Agreed.
Yeah.
That and peanut butter, not together, but...
Yeah, not together. But yeah, we were living off of peanut butter and such. Something that I wanted to touch on was Stratton Mountain. When me and Brandon got up to the top there, and Jayvian was on his way back home.
Yeah, well,
for the
when
day.
you were hiking, I didn't even wake up till 10.
You didn't even wake up till 10?
I was sleeping in my
I was
tent.
well at the top of that mountain by 10. Me and Brandon, we took a small 0.7 mile trail to North Stratton Mountain, which is where the ski slope is. And summertime in a ski slope is amazing feeling. Like, you got all like the lift workers, and everybody's just chilling and having a good time. And so this one guy, he came over and he talked to us, and there's this giant like carving of a bear. I'm talking, I got up next to this. We'll put the picture on the video of this. This bear is massive and such a cool looking bear. But the guy talked to us for a while, and there was these huge bunny rabbits running around. I'm talking like 10 plus pound bunny rabbits that were huge. And and then we just got out of there. Turns out we missed it because we were too early, but somebody left cookies in the fire tower at the top of Stratton Mountain, but we didn't get to them. That's fine though. Trail magic. You get some, you miss some. We stayed that night at Stratton Pond Shelter. And we met this guy named Grandpa. Actually, let me grab. Right here. We met this guy who called himself Grandpa. And that was his trail name. And he gave us this card, and he wrote his memoirs in a book. And so it just says Grandpa's Memoirs, and it gives so if you want to go check it out, it's www.grandpawsmemoirs, but Grandpa is spelled GRANDPAWS, and then memoirs, MEMOIRS. If you wanted to check out that, we met that guy on the trail, and he was very kind.
I'm pretty sure we actually met him twice, because I remember he came to that one camp. This is later on in the trip, but he was talking about that.
Was he?
Yeah, he had a bear canister. He said he was writing.
Okay, maybe we did meet him later on. I don't quite remember. But so we only spent one night in Stratton, or one night away from Jayvian, because me and Brandon, we woke up at Stratton Pond Shelter, and then we hiked 11 miles from Stratton Pond Shelter to Manchester Center. And here's where things get a little interesting. When we got to a section in the trail called Prospect Rock, there is a shortcut into Manchester Center called Old Rooteville Road. There's some people on the trail are considered, they call themselves purists. They want their feet to touch every single inch of the trail, basically. And a purist would not take a shortcut, but us being just people trying to hike their home state, it wasn't a big deal for us. So we start hiking down what's called Old Rootville Road, 1.8 miles, and we see a couple, an older couple, hiking up the hill with 2 dogs, and they say hi and they ask us if we'd seen a 3rd dog, which we hadn't yet. So we tell them that, and they express that they were looking for it, and so we just hike a little bit further, only like a minute down the trail, and then we see far at the bottom of the hill where they just came from is a dog, a blonde dog. So we yell back up the hill, and we're like, hey, your dog, it's down here. Well, they were so grateful that they didn't have to hike all around, and then when they found out that the dog was down at the bottom of the hill, they expressed that they might have been lost for a while looking for him. So the guy, John, he invited us to his farm after offering us a ride into town. So yes, of course, we jump in, and he gives us a ride into Manchester Center, and that's when he offered us. He said, Friday nights is when we have wood fire pizza. So if you 3 want to come over, then it's open house for you guys. So me and Brandon, we were like, wow, thank you. We will definitely do that. We were going to spend that night at Green Mountain House, and we did. And then the next night we were going to go to Taylor Farm. So we wait in Manchester Center for Jayvian, which by this point, which I guess we should probably go over right now, trail names. Trail names. You get a trail name based on something you did or an aspect of yourself that other people pick up on. You almost never give yourself a trail name. My trail name turned out to be Spider for a couple different reasons. In the beginning of the trail, I always hiked ahead, which changed later on, but in the beginning, I was always hiking ahead, and I was eating spider webs left and right, but I didn't mind. Yeah. They don't really bother me. I've been in the woods a lot, and spider webs are just a part of it. And then one day, the second morning, I'm like going to take a leak, and on my you-know-what is a spider.
Harmon
Hill is where that happened. It didn't really alarm me. I just like shoot him off, get off of here. But I expressed that to the crew, and they gave me that name. They gave me Spider.
He expressed that. He turned around. He's like, there was a spider on my.
So that's how I got my name. So Spider is what people referred to me as on the trail. That's what I introduced myself as and everything. Brandon, our friend, he got the trail name Sham Wow, like the commercial, like the whatever it's called, the rag,
yeah,
the super absorbent washcloth. And the funny story behind that is that in 2015, me and him attempted the trail south to north, and we only made it 5 days in. And we just didn't have good gear. We had cotton clothing. It was not the best. So we called it 5 days in. But his trail name then was ShamWow, because he dropped his ShamWow on the trail and somebody recovered it. And when they gave it back to him, they gave him that name. But on this trip in 2017, we're all up at the top of Goddard Shelter, which is at the top of Glastonbury Mountain. And everybody's settling in. Jayvian here is comfortable in his sleeping bag and reading or doing something. And Brandon, at this point, is Brandon. He's making a lasagna instant, dehydrated meal. And it built up pressure. And when he opened it, it sprayed some spaghetti sauce onto Jayvian's sleeping bag. But all of a sudden, and everybody saw this, and he's like, "Oh, don't worry." And this is exactly like an infomercial, but he didn't mean it to be. He's like, "Oh, don't worry. Everything's fine. I'll just pull out my ShamWow." And he says it just like that. And everybody laughs, and I'm standing above him, and I'm the only one with him from 2015, and nobody really gets like the meaning of this. And I just look at him and I'm like, "That's your name again, dude." And he owned it. He liked it. So 2 years on the trail, and
That's
his
awesome.
trail name is ShamWow. But then we get back to my brother here, and his trail name. We've already went over day 1 and how exhausted he looked and how he threw up and everything. And he woke up the next day, no complaints. He didn't even mention the day before. And then we hike almost 15 miles uphill to Glastonbury Mountain. And when we were climbing that mountain, I knew what his trail name was going to be, but it was only going to be that if he didn't complain until we got, like, if we got to Goddard Shelter and he didn't complain, he was going to get the name. Did I say Goddard Shelter? I think that's what it is.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Glastonbury, Mountain,
Yeah.
Goddard. Yeah.
So, sure enough, we get to Goddard Shelter at the top of Glastonbury Mountain, and he never complained once. So there it was. I let everybody know the trail name was about to be awarded, and everybody kind of gathered around ceremoniously, and I said, "Jayvian, you are now warrior." And that's what he was.
That was in front of those. Remember the the one family, 2 kids,
And
they were
the-
9.
And the
They were
father.
hiking, they were hiking 20-mile days.
Yeah. Their trail names were Stretch, Remix, and Squire.
Oh yeah, Squire. Yeah.
Squire was the father.
Yep. They witnessed that.
Yep, they witnessed that. They witnessed the marking of a trail name. So we'll likely refer to ourselves as our normal names periodically, but we'll also refer to ourselves as our trail names. So Jayvian is Warrior, me, Alexander, is Spider, and Brandon is ShamWow.
Warrior, Spider, ShamWow.
Yep.
That's a crew.
That's a crew right there. So let's pick back up at Manchester Center. Me and Brandon, we get into Manchester Center before Warrior here, and we eat at the best bagel shop I've ever seen. I need it all the time. I need it now, specifically. It's called The Works, and if you're ever in Manchester Center, Vermont, you need to go to The Works. How many sides, how many tops does a bagel normally have?
1.
One. Yep, that's a average number of tops for a bagel.
Yep.
Well, guess how many The Works has on their bagels? Guess how many tops?
How many?
2. One
Two.
on each side. Both covered in
Double
toppings.
seasons.
Oh my gosh. Rounded, perfectly done, perfectly crisp. Damn. It was so good that I probably ate there 4 to 5 times in the 2 days we were in Manchester Center.
Yeah, maybe the first day.
Yep. Picture a montage of like you know in Scooby-Doo when the camera stays fixed and characters are running from the left of frame to the right of frame and the right of frame to left and they're chasing each other back and forth. Well, picture a montage sequence like that of me and Brandon going to the left of frame, coming back into frame with a bagel in our hands each, and then going off of frame to the right, and then coming back into frame with a burrito in our hands, going off of frame left, coming back in with a apple cider donut, going off to the right, coming back with chocolate covered almonds, and this is just like almost never ending.
All day.
Until you showed up. Yeah. I mean, we took a nap by the river.
That's where I found you when I got there.
Yeah, you found us by the river. And what was your experience when you first showed up about Taylor Farm and us telling you? Because mind you, when we were in Manchester Center right now, during that montage sequence, we had yet to spend the night there. We had just come off of Stratton Pond Shelter. And that night, we were scheduled to spend the night at Green Mountain House, which is a hiker hostel.
So when you saw John and the dog, do you just hike into Manchester?
He gave us a ride into
did.
Manchester.
He
Dropped us off at the works and actually got a bagel with us at the
wow.
works. He's responsible for me.
Yeah.
getting
Wow.
vibed.
Thanks, John.
Yeah. Yeah, he actually was ranting and raving about it now that I remember.
Really?
He was like, yeah, are you going, do you want to get dropped off into town? And we said, yeah. He's like, well, there's an awesome bagel shop.
Man. That whole Manchester town, man. That they got like that Outfitters. That's like a
Mountain Goat.
high-end
Yeah, it's man, they have like Versace and
Yep.
like Armana,
Polo.
a
Yeah.
bunch of different outlet stores, but it's also a hiker town. So you get these like
Yeah.
prim and proper people, and then you got these smelly, dirty hikers all commingling in one town. But when you got out of the car, who dropped you off, by the way?
It was a girl. She was just a friend.
Okay. But she was
picked me up, dropped. Yeah, she was like my transport.
nice. That works.
She was cool.
So when you got out, like, what did you experience like with us?
Well, first my whole experience was seeing all that like rich, like vibe, and it was cool to see because I thought I was just coming into like this hiker town.
Yep.
And then I think you did get a message to me to go to like the park.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
So I was looking for that, and I had groceries. I was like reading up.
That's
stuff.
right, because
Yeah.
you went to the co-op when you came back into home,
Yep.
and you got us almond
Oh,
butter.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
got some good
Stocked up.
food.
That was awesome.
This was the beginning of us actually figuring out like the good food to bring.
Yeah, like the week was a trial. The first week was like a trial run.
Yeah, definitely a trial run.
Well, anyway, yeah, I came up to you guys, and before I even said a word, you're like, we're spending a night at a farm. A cheese farm. You're like, a cheese farm. I was like, what?
Yeah, we were so hyped. Because when he extended the offer, John did, to me and Brandon, we didn't give him like a definitive, but we told him like it was very likely. And then literally as soon as John pulls away, me and Brandon look at each other and we just said, we like mapped it out for ourselves. We're like, we're on the long trail, our home state. We just got into Manchester Center. We're spending a night at the Green Mountain House. We just got extended an invitation to have wood-fired pizza at a Gouda cheese farm. We're doing it. We just look at each other and we're like, we're just doing it. We'll find our way there. We'll just do it. So me and Brandon basically made up the decision, but Jayvian Warrior here would have been on board no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we were planning to take a 0 day the next day. And just go to Taylor Farms and check it out and relax. So let's detail the Green Mountain House, which if you're watching this on video form, we have
some footage of it.
We have a good footage of the Green Mountain House. Yeah, we have a whole tour footage.
Oh, video, yep.
Yeah, where we're walking like through the front door. There's all the shoes next to the
Our 3
building.
beds. Oh, yeah.
You walk in and it's like an open kitchen living room area, and all adorning the walls are pictures of past hikers, which, mind you, this is on the Appalachian Trail still. So there's AT pictures and LT pictures.
Katahdin pictures.
Katahdin picture, yep. Beautiful, beautiful maps, topographical, like 3-dimensional maps on the wall. So you could see the whole long trail and like know the elevation just by looking at it. Very, very comfortable, clean setup.
Yeah.
This isn't what you picture when you think about a hostel. I want you to picture a guest house set up for hikers. That's exactly what this is. They had 2 rooms, 3 bedrooms in one, or 3 beds in one, and I think
the other 2 had 2 bedrooms.
Okay.
Beds. Yeah.
So there was three rooms total.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, because I think like thinking at the people there was enough to fill that space.
Yeah, because 7 people was the top number.
Okay, so that
makes
is how it
sense.
was.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we hang out. We have a room to ourselves. We just got done hiking. What day was it? It was probably
Day 5 or 6.
It was day 5.
Yeah.
When we spent. It was night 5. Man, the feeling that we had. And we'll show a picture of like nighttime right before we went to bed. We got a picture of us just like chilling in our beds.
Just relaxing.
So comfortable, warm. Took hot that was the rule too.
Oh, yeah.
When you get there,
you leave your shoes outside.
Yep. You put on flip-flops.
Oh, yep.
And there's like I think there's 2 showers or 1 shower. No, there's 2 showers.
Our room had its own.
Our room had its own shower.
Bathroom. Like
yeah. Yeah.
Definitely well worth this.
Definitely
day. Yeah.
well worth it. It was only how much?
I think 30.
30 apiece?
Yeah.
Yeah,
which-
30 apiece.
Yeah, picture that. Picture a hotel, 150.
Yeah, right.
Right.
And this was way more luxurious and
yeah.
comfortable. Well, not more luxurious, but it was more comfortable, like
Yeah.
just homey feeling. And the dude was super kind who ran the place. He picked us up. This is what he told us when we called him. He said, "All right, so what I want you to do the night that you're staying is you pick up all the groceries and do all the things that you need to do in town, and then call me, and when we'll pick you up." So we did that. We went to it was a Price Chopper.
Yeah, not only he told us
It was a Price Chopper from the 1980s. This
Dead
Price Chopper
serious.
was so decrepit that the sign was like yellowed. It was like the old siding that is just like off-white yellow.
Yep.
Oh my god.
It was in like a superstore setting.
It was
but
so
It was the only store
man,
in it.
Yeah, it was so cringeworthy when you see like I don't know. It's just hard to see like that much money in a town and them not have a good grocery store.
Yeah.
Armani, Polo, Versace, like, and they have a 1980s Price Chopper.
Yeah.
Like,
Right. For real.
but we did what we needed to. We shopped and we got what we needed. And yeah, we call him and he picks us up. I got a bag of cherries to share with everybody at the hostel, just as like a community thing. And when you get there, like we said, you take your shoes off. You're encouraged. You're actually like, it's
you gotta.
yeah, you got to take a shower. It's not like explicit and it's not like, but you got to take a shower. Nobody says no, I guess is my point.
No one would want to. Yeah, you're 5 days in.
I was about to say we
Yeah.
had just been 5 days in without you had a shower because you went home, but me and Brandon, me and ShamWow, we were
so relieved.
we were so relieved to take a hot shower, like 30-minute shower. And then we just kind of settle in. Big Lebowski. People were watching. I actually put that in. I didn't watch it all, but people were watching Big Lebowski on a TV in the living room. There was the vibe because the owner of this establishment, he had his own house that was on the property right next door, but this was like a guest house, but like a full-blown house. So everybody in this house is a hiker, and we're all just so gracious for like the amenities that are here. There's a library, there's like a computer with internet, fast, high speed, and
the hiker box.
There was something to weigh your pack to see how much it weighed.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, literally endless movies.
Ben and Jerry's for sale in the freezer
For
$2.
$2, pints of Ben and Jerry's for $2. We didn't indulge though.
Nah, well, I don't think it would have been a good idea.
Ben and Jerry's, they just kind of, for me, they've fallen off. I don't enjoy their ice cream anymore. As sad as that is for me to say, I just don't enjoy it anymore.
Grew up with that.
Yeah, we grew up with good Ben and Jerry's before high fructose, before all the. It's just not the same consistency. But anyway, regardless of that, it was it was such a good time. It was just, and when I say like a good time, it's not like party good time. It's like comfortable, laid back, relaxing, everybody accepting. Like, it was just very, very
He really
nice.
makes you feel at home. Like,
yeah, home is a very good way to put it. You just felt at home with other people. Like,
yeah, it was cool. I ate dinner without you guys.
Yeah.
With 2 people I don't even know.
Yep.
Don't even get their names. You're just
shooting
it.
Yeah, you're just hanging out. So we wake up the next morning, and he was giving everybody a ride. So we got a ride to the post office because we had to mail some stuff home.
We actually, everybody got a ride at 7. We waited till 9 when he got back.
Oh, okay.
Remember that? We had the whole house to
That
ourselves.
is true,
We cooked pancakes.
Yep. Because there was 2
With your
shuttles that he
cherries.
said.
Yep.
One at 7, one at 9. So we head out at 9 because we were taking a 0 day that day. We're not going to hike anymore. We're going to get to Taylor Farm. And we get a ride to the post office, hang out there. Then we kind of just spent the day relaxing in town again. I ate another 2 bagels, probably. We went to the Mountain Goat.
Oh, they had this pineapple smoothie.
Where?
At the Works.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
You got it?
It was like a pineapple kale thing, and I haven't had.
I actually
kale
remember
before.
sipping it.
But yep.
Yeah, it was good.
It was good.
That was definitely good. So we spent that day just hanging out in Manchester Center. We called John.
We did, yeah.
Yeah, we called John, got in contact with him, and said we're more than happy to stay. He said that somebody who worked at the farm, she could come down and pick us up later on. So we said okay, and told her where we would be at. So then it was honestly just waiting. We just
Yeah.
hung out and just relaxed again
By the river.
by the river.
I actually had to go buy. I didn't have to, but I bought a hat
Oh, yep. And you bought a pillow.
and a pillow.
Yeah.
Good deal on that.
Good deal on the pillow. And we waited for Susie, which Susie, if you're listening, hope you're doing well out there.
Yeah,
Hope everything's
Susie.
working out. It looks like it is by the pics.
Yeah, she's doing it.
Yeah, out there, man. That's what I want to be doing, but one day. So, yeah, we get picked up by Susie, and the vibe that we got from Susie was just, wow, this chick is cool. Like, man, she was Subaru Outback with Tibetan, I forgot the official name, but, like, the Tibetan flags that are, like, sending good vibes.
Yeah. She had, like, a straw hat on.
Yep, straw hat, and putting along right up to Taylor Farm,
Yeah.
where we just got out and just started to relax again. But this was like, this was so different. This was a good time.
Yeah, something I wouldn't even know about.
Yeah, yeah, literally something that we just, you know that it exists, but you don't know where it exists or how, or like, yeah, and when you get there, you just immediately know what's going on.
Yep.
Everybody is having a good time. It is everybody's job to have a good time. Like, Dylan. Susie.
Yeah.
John. There's music being played.
Yeah.
We'll play some of that in the background right now. Not the music itself, because it'll cut the podcast up too much, but we'll play like the video footage of it. Man, what are some of your highlights from Taylor Farm? Because I guess that's a good way to put it, is highlights. Because it was all amazing. We spent I think like a total of 20 hours there.
Probably, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
That's actually cool to think about it like that. I did not, because I just pictured it like one night, but we had that whole afternoon. Remember that?
And we didn't go to bed early, dude.
Oh yeah.
We were up until 1.
Look at this. We literally did not set up a tent. We were cowboy camping, so bedtime was just you go and you pass out.
Yep. Bedtime was just, hey, we're gonna sleep on this open porch.
Yep.
Just whenever you want.
I had down, so I had to sleep under like
the
table.
Yeah.
I didn't want my things to get damp.
Yeah, we didn't want the dew to fall on his down sleeping bag.
But remember the drum circle?
Drum circle, middle of the night. I'm talking like 11:30 midnight drum circle. And man, that song, Listen to the Music.
Yeah.
I get such chills when I listen to that now, because that listen to the music.
Yeah, I remember Susie. She was singing that.
Yeah, such a good time. We met 2 other hikers who were AT hikers who had spent some time at Taylor Farm, Sherpa and School Bus, and they had their cat, which is named Pat Cat. That was his trail name. And this cat literally hiked the AT all the way from Georgia to Vermont. Crazy.
Big cat.
And that's the reason why it's called Pat Cat, is because he stayed in the pack the whole time. And the reason why Sherpa's name was Sherpa is because he was Sherpa-ing the cat. Yeah, oh my gosh, the pizza. Here's a picture of the pizza.
Couple pictures.
Oh man, the raw milk. The Gouda cheese.
Maple Gouda cheese.
The ride. This is my highlight, honestly. Dylan, man, I hope you hear this sometime, because you're one of my favorite people in the world.
100%.
I have this like file in my mind of like unique characters, and these are like my favorite people that I've ever met. And Dylan is definitely in that category. He's just so laid back, so just like good time having, very fun, minimal pressure. And he just says to us, he says, when you look back, Taylor Farms will be one of the best nights that you have on the long trail. And he was right, 100%.
100%.
The highlight that I wanted to mention, and I'll do right here, is there was this old pickup truck, and there's like 3 kids running around the farm, which are just part of it. Dylan was in charge of them.
Yeah, one of them was his.
One of them was his kid?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
The little girl.
Oh, okay. So Dylan's in charge of 3 kids and one like 15-year-old, probably 15-year-old, but definitely Samoan in descent. This kid was large, like tall.
Very.
Really cool too. Very laid back. And he acted more mature than he was.
Yeah.
Just in like age-wise. He's super cool. But so we all load up. There's like 13 plus people in this truck, in this pickup truck, and it's like leaning down. And we just take it slowly. Dylan's driving. Warrior here is in the passenger seat, and we just start heading back to the back of the field. And we're just driving through like not a cornfield, but like a regular looking field. And then we're driving through like where the cows are, and then we had to drive through this big like mud pit, and then we drive like through this fence, and then. Not through the fence, but open it and then go through.
Yeah, that was my job.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I became this guy's, like, second man. I was
Yeah,
holding his drink,
yeah.
his coffee or whatever.
That's funny. That is, when you're,
Yeah.
yep. Man, multiple times was it my job to keep a beer in the koozie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, if you're co-pilot, you got a couple responsibilities.
Definitely.
So, yeah, we just hang out at the back of this, like, just on this small trail. With the parked truck near there, just serene, very, very comfortable. And then on our way back out from that area, one of the funniest instances ever was that 15-year-old Samoan kid who Dylan is trying to convince to ride this shaggy bull, one of those orange like shag carpet looking bulls. They hop out of the truck, they stop the truck, everybody's staying in the back, and they're just next to this bull, and the bull doesn't care at all, which is so surprising. But the 15-year-old kid is like trying to get on top of it. But they ended up just not doing it.
Nah.
But it was funny. It was hilarious. And then we kind of just what?
That shut off.
Okay, that's fine. Do we want to restart it?
Just
The
press-
GoPro shut off, if you're wondering, listening to this. But so at Taylor Farm, I'd say that it was definitely one of the best nights on the trail by far. We woke up the next morning, and we didn't want to burden anybody by waking them up early because we had known that everybody kind of like had a late night. So we weren't going to burden anybody with that. We actually left John a little gift.
Oh, yeah, in his freezer.
Yep, we left him some frozen hash that we got from the co-op up in Montpelier here. And was it a cupcake? A chocolate cupcake?
I think something.
Yeah, something sweet.
Yeah.
Some sort of dessert.
Yep.
We woke up on day 10 or day 7, so a week into the trail at Taylor Farm. And we tried to hitchhike for like an hour, but it didn't work. The road was pretty slow. But then John woke up. And we got a ride. I guess I should mention this too because I totally forgot to.
Yeah.
The dog.
Serendipity.
Yeah, the dog that we like found for John was somebody's at the farm who I went to high school with. It's not it may be her friend, but the serendipity is still there because when we got to the farm, the girl who I went to high school with, who was a couple grades ahead of me, she recognized me. And we just started talking, and it's like...
In a matter of seconds.
In a matter of seconds. And how did I'm on the long trail, and I just, like, find myself here out of all the possibilities, and it was just really, really cool. And so Laura, the girl, she was with John in the morning, and they gave us a ride to the trailhead, which was several miles away. So it would have been a pain if we didn't hitchhike there. And we went to a country store and ate a country breakfast, which was just an egg sando. And then we start hiking to Peru Peak. Do you remember Peru Peak?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah. Like the shelter?
Yeah. Detail a little bit of it, because I don't remember.
Yeah, this was our... Remember, this was with the no filter sign at the water.
That was Peru Peak?
Yeah.
With the redheaded girl?
Yeah, with Shredder.
Shredder?
Yeah.
She was cool.
I think she was... They were AT, but...
Yes.
But north?
Yes. North to south AT?
I think so.
I think so too, actually, yeah.
It was her friend's birthday too, so that day.
Oh, okay.
Which is pretty funny.
Here is a small snippet from the book about Peru Peak shelter. 2,550 feet on Division 4 of the Long Trail. This shelter is on the western slope of Peru Peak. It was built in 1935 by Civilian Conservation Corps. rebuilt by the Youth Conservation Corps and USFS in 1979, and rebuilt by the Long Trail Patrol in 2000. In past years, it's been known as Griffith Shelter and as USFS Shelter. Just something small about it that they had in the book.
Mm-hmm.
I remember it being like really, really old looking. The logs that this shelter was on were big enough around to where you couldn't hug them if you like. They were obviously on the ground, but like that big around.
Yeah, it was on a rock too, I think.
Yeah, it was huge and kind of
Big.
not creepy, but eerie, I guess is the word. It was really dark when you got in the shelter.
Yep. Oh yeah, because remember it was kind of like up. It had like a 2-foot. Like it was in the shelter, but then there was another layer, and it was 2 feet up.
Yep.
And you would lay on that.
Yep. Something about our sleeping arrangements, we kind of stuck to this the whole trail.
Yeah, we
And
did.
I'm like a cat to where I need to go to a corner. And so I guess strategically what this was doing is it would be always me in a corner. So I got the wall to one side, and then my brother would lie right next to me, and then Brandon right next to him.
Yeah.
So we never had to really sleep next to anybody else, really.
Yeah.
Which isn't a problem. I don't mind doing that, but just the way that it worked out, I was always in the corner. He was always right there next to
Either
me.
that or the bunk.
Or the bunk,
Yep.
yep. So that was day 7. It was 10 miles from the Taylor Farm to Peru Peak. Then we woke up and hiked
Ooh.
Well,
This was a weekend. This was Long Stride.
oh, okay.
We should definitely mention.
Yeah,
that.
Long Stride. He's a cool character. He got his trail name because he obviously has a long stride, but at this time in the trail, he had like an injured ankle.
Yeah, something was. He was just limping.
You know, I really wish we could. I don't have his website handy with me right now. But he runs a blog, and he actually details the whole long trail trip that he did, and it's really worth the look. So if you just look up Long Stride in Google search, Long Stride, Long Trail,
We can even
Long
put
Stride blog.
We'll put it on our website.
We'll put it in our show notes.
Our show notes, yeah.
Yeah. He was really, really cool though, and we actually made it in some of his blog posts without fully like realizing it till we looked it up.
Yeah, he was carrying around a GoPro,
Yep.
just taking pics and vids.
He was really cool.
Yeah, I know.
We hiked from Peru Peak Shelter 14 miles to Greenwall Shelter.
Yes, this is actually where we made it in his blog.
Oh,
The picture
okay.
of you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Greenwall Shelter is where we met Gas.
Gas, yeah.
Gas was really cool. He was an older gentleman who was hiking the trail. He had a chair that was a 1-pound chair that, actually you have.
Yeah, I do have it.
Yeah, he got it after the trail.
He encouraged it, definitely.
Yeah,
Well, this
1
is
pound
why.
of luxury.
Yeah, he smoked cigars.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm seeing this guy in the middle of nowhere at Greenwall, sitting in a chair, reading a book, smoking a cigar. Like, of course I'm buying that chair. And of
Right.
course, like, yeah, it was just definitely, that's a vibe.
Yeah, he was wicked cool. Very, very cool. He actually he stayed with us right up until Rutland and the Yellow Deli.
Yep.
Because he was at the breakfast that we were at.
It's funny how that works. Like, we slept next to him then in the shelter. I slept next to him in Rutland.
Right.
Like, I don't even know this guy. It's cool.
Yeah, and you just like you have this connection with these people.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still connected with some of them that we'll mention later on. When our state, by the way, Vermont, I consider it an oasis. Like, there's really not much in the woods. That fear is a weird thing, but I grew up out in the woods a lot and with my father, and my father has always instilled in me that, at least in Vermont, when you're out in the woods, specifically with a gun, like hunting, I guess, but we're the biggest, baddest things out there. And that may sound arrogant in some ways, but in reality, you really are. Minus the ticks.
Yeah.
The ticks are bigger and badder than you. Don't get it twisted. But there's just a feeling of, that I have at least, of just relaxed. And there's a Grimm fairy tale, and I want to kind of highlight it a little bit because it's one of my favorites. And it's called something like The Man and the Wolf. But it starts out with a fox talking to a wolf that had never seen man before. And Fox is telling him about man and telling him that man is nothing to mess with. And the wolf is arrogant. And the wolf, he tells the fox, he's like, I want to test myself. Show me this man that you speak of. The fox, he says, well, all right, if you really want to. So the fox leads him to a trail. And a woman passes. And the wolf gets ready and he says, is that a man? And the fox says, no, that's not a man. Then a young boy walks by, and the same thing. The wolf gets ready to pounce, and the fox says, no, that's not a man either. He's yet to be one. But then, coming down the trail is a woodsman with an axe at his side. He's got a shotgun in his arms. He's got a knife on his belt. And the fox looks at the wolf, and he says, now that is a man. And he says like, that's a man. And he just dips. He's like, I'm out of here. And then the wolf, he says, all right, time to test myself. The wolf pounces at the man. The man points, and this is all from the perspective of the wolf. So the man points from the wolf's perspective a stick at the wolf. And then what he describes is porcupine quills showering his face. And then when the wolf tackles the man pulls out a shiny, sharp stick and just like goes at the wolf with it. And in the end, the wolf limps off and he like survives, but he like shakes his head and he says, never again will I mess with man. And that's it. That's the end of the story. And truly, like, as humans, we have tools that mano a mano bring us like levels above. And so never once was I on this trail and felt worried. Or like, bears are one thing, and there's definitely problem shelters with bear, but generally you're the biggest, baddest thing out here if you do it right. Getting back to the trail, this is about day 9 into it, and we hike from Greenwall Shelter to Rutland, getting off at Route 103. And it didn't take us very long, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Some woman was dropping her kids off on the trailhead, and like older kids, not young kids. Here you go, kiddies. Hope to see you one day.
Play with the trail. This is Clairton Gorge, isn't it? Where we just walked by.
Is it?
Yeah. Right before, because you get off Clairton Gorge, go over the bridge, and you come up.
Oh, it is. Yep. Clarendon Gorge. That was really nice. Did we take a picture there?
That was where our good picture is.
All right. So if you're watching the video aspect, you'll see a picture of us standing on the bridge across Clarendon Gorge, which is a beautiful place. It had rained this day, now that I remember back.
Yep. A little bit.
A little bit. It really wasn't much. So that wasn't a problem.
Hey, we actually got trail magic. Remember? Not a lot, but in that one shelter we stayed at for like an hour, there was leftover foods from somebody, and we.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we split them up.
Yep.
Yeah, that's always helpful. Any food that you're not carrying that somebody gives you, you devour it. You're just like, yeah. Oh no.
Calories.
Oh no. Thank you. So we make it past Clarendon Gorge and onto Route 103. I believe that's what I said. Yeah, 103. And get a ride immediately by a kind woman into Rutland. Now, this feeling that I had when we were driving, like when we were like hitchhiking and we're getting closer and closer to Rutland, it was so nice. And I took a video of like the end of the trip. We'll put that in the video aspect as well. Of just the Yellow Deli. That's where we got dropped off at.
Oh yeah.
And this is our first experience at the Yellow Deli, the hiker hostel, the famous, infamous hiker hostel. So we head on inside, tell them that we're hikers. They lead us upstairs.
Yep.
I mean, I'm just going to be honest with our experience at Yellow Deli, because everybody has an experience, and the vibe was just like, it was good. It was definitely good, but it felt weird. Weird is, I think, like number one like thing that I felt.
Yeah.
It was fairly dark. I don't know if that had something to do with it.
True.
But there was multiple bunk rooms, and these had like good looking bunks, showers, like stall style showers. Really comfortable place.
Yeah,
It didn't
it's
feel
well
like
put
home.
together, but
It didn't feel like home in the way that the Green Mountain house did. This felt more of like a dormitory where you kind of just pass in and out of. But it was good enough. I mean, definitely really good. We helped cook breakfast in the morning, like for people with a catechus, and we got a picture here or a video. I'm pretty sure just a picture of that. Breakfast was good. Not too much to say. The food that they make is good. They had yerba mate bars.
Oh yeah.
Yerba mate with honey and maple syrup and peanuts and peanut butter.
Oh, so good. We kept some for oatmeal.
Yeah, we kept some for oatmeal. We would like crush it up, and they were called like energy bars, and they definitely did that.
We didn't spend too much time in the building.
Yeah, we spent too much time there. I think just because we spent one day, and then we didn't take a zero. That's something I'm a little confused, like in memories about. Like, how much time did we actually spend there the first day that we went?
I mean, we went there, like midday we got there because she dropped us right off. And that's the day we watched like a movie. We were definitely enjoying.
Oh
like,
man,
the
when we
city
watched
life.
a movie, I fell asleep.
Yeah, we were
Planet of the
We
Apes.
were beat.
Yeah, we were so beat. We
7
thought
days.
we just thought it was a good idea. Like, hey, we're in a town, might as well like go do towny things. So let's go
Yeah.
watch a movie. But I was so tired that I just couldn't have it. Fell asleep, told him, and then I woke up and I was like, hey, I'm gonna go back to the hostel. Which, all right, I want to let this be known because this is hilarious from my perspective. People were saying that the Yellow Deli was like out to get you, and it was like haunted or something. It was all rigmarole. Whether or not I'm using that word right or not doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah.
But after I left the movie theater, I went and got habanero cheddar. At which point, I ate the habanero cheddar, the whole block. Probably not a good idea. I hadn't eaten hot cheese in a while, so my body wasn't used to it. Get back to the hiker hostel, fall asleep, wake up middle of the night, profusely sweating, having to crap my brains out. So I do, and I'm sitting on the toilet, and I'm literally sweating like crazy, like a cold water bottle from the fridge set on the counter, and it just condenses moisture all around it. That was like my thighs, and I'm literally like in a hallucinatory state almost, sitting on the toilet middle of the night in this hiker hostel that people say is haunted, and I'm just saying in my own head, it's in the food, it's in the water, they've got me. But I'm so delirious, and like it just hurt. I don't know what was up. I mean, obviously I know what was up. There was a pound of habaneros in my intestinal tract. But I got over it. I woke up the next morning clear-headed and was just like, wow, okay. Like, I know what happened. I don't blame it on anything other than the cheese. But in the scenario, in the moment, it was something else.
It was in the air, you said.
Yeah. I was like, it's in the food. It's in the water. It's in the air. So we hiked out of there. No ill feelings either, as you'll see later, because we hike Killington Mountain. Get to the top, meet Jack and Jill.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean Jack and
Jill.
Tom and Jill.
I met him at the bottom.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
I didn't.
because their dog. Because we all hiked to everybody
We hiked at our
separately.
own. Yeah. This was at this point in the trail. We all kind of hiked separate.
Yeah, we became like our own routine.
Yep.
It was nice.
Our own pace. I tended to, instead of hike ahead, I just tended to stay back, hike at my own pace, and catch up to everybody.
True.
But so you met them at the bottom with their dog.
Yep, the dog ran up at me. Remember the field in the bottom?
Yep.
He came through that. Like,
Oh, wow.
It was just a wild animal as far as I knew.
Yeah.
But then they were yelling like, he's alright, he doesn't bite.
That's
so
cool.
I was petting him.
They were super friendly people.
Oh yeah. Conversationalist.
Yep. We'll have some pictures of the view from Killington Mountain, which is beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Definitely one of my favorite mountains. I'm gonna read a little bit about the shelter, Cooper Lodge. This shelter was Really nice. I liked it.
The whole mountain, honestly, like it was a good hike.
Yeah, it was definitely nice. Cooper Lodge, 3,850 feet. This is the highest shelter on the LT. It was completed in 1939 by the Civilian Conservation Corps under the direction of the Vermont Forestry Service in cooperation with Green Mountain Club. It occupies about the same site as the former Killington Summit House Hotel. Oh, wow. Destroyed by fire in 1916. The lodge is named by for Charles P. Cooper, president of the GMC, when a considerable part of the LT was created. That's cool. It used to be an old hotel there. Wow.
Helicopters really just go up there and bring that?
Dude, yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
That's pretty sweet.
Yep.
Because, like, it doesn't make money.
No, you're right. It's probably all an investment on, like, the lodge's part.
Right.
Yeah. If I had enough money, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
I'd be helicoptering in some big old logs. Big old logs.
Go buy a mountain and put a
Yeah, just
mansion on it.
build up there. So nothing too notable from Killington, I guess. Cooper Lodge at the top.
Except for, honestly, meeting Tom and Jill.
Tom and Jill was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really, really great.
Mm-hmm.
Motherly and fatherly figures, kind of.
Yeah.
They definitely were like, I don't know, the way that they were talking to us was very like, it was warm. It was warm-hearted.
Yeah.
And they were cool. And we saw them again later on, which we'll cover.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, yeah. So, like, the next morning we wake up, we all go our separate ways, kind of just hiking at our own pace, and it starts to rain.
It's all downhill.
It's all downhill. Started to rain.
Yep.
Rain's not a problem, is it? It isn't.
Nah.
But we just got out of town. Like,
Yeah.
man, you know, we expected to have, like, dry clothes for a little longer than this, and then it just hit us like an epiphany. Boom. Nobody's stopping us from doing anything. So why don't we just go back into Rutland?
Hell yes.
That's exactly what it took. It was just that question and a hell yes. So we let Brandon know our plan, and he just didn't want to. He just wanted to keep hiking, which is totally understandable. Oh, shoot. One moment. And we're back. Sorry about the interruption. We just got a call unexpectedly. Should have put that on airplane mode, but better luck next time. So we hike from Cooper Lodge into Rutland after deciding that we were going to go back to the Yellow Deli. So we do that. We get back to the Yellow Deli, and just like the first time we did it, we go into the main place, the main establishment, and then we tell them, okay, we're hikers, and then they lead us outside again and then up into a separate door, which is the hiker hostel. But this time, walk in like own the place.
Oh, yeah. Claim our bunks.
Claim our bunk. We just walk straight up.
Warrior Bamate bars.
Yo, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They give free yerba mate bars on each bed, and I am guilty of snagging a couple extra from unoccupied beds.
Which is fine. We actually made the beds for them.
Yeah, we did. Oh, yeah, that's right.
That? Yeah.
So they would have you, and this is important for this part of the story too, because they say that if you want to like help for like an hour or whatever, you get a free meal, and they have really good food.
Yep.
So I took a nap, as I am prone to do,
yep,
on the trail, and I woke up to did you put the note on my chest?
Did I?
I think you did.
Probably.
I woke up to a note on my chest that just said, "Hey, bro, I'm washing dishes. I'll be back later."
Yep.
So you would just wash dishes for a while.
Yeah, it was actually it was awesome, actually. Like, 5 people that we never even seen yet were in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a whole nother part. That building's huge.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it's pretty huge. So they tell me, like, I'm just going to bust tables. Like, I literally was.
Oh, wow. Like, working?
Yeah, like, it was going to be, like, apron on.
Wow.
But then the guy never showed up. Their dishwasher never showed up. And I just went into this kitchen with 3 girls that we never even seen.
Yep.
So, like, I'm meeting 8 different people that we never met. And they just stick me on this dishwasher. And I do them.
That's
like,
awesome.
I've done it before recently in other jobs.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't something you were new to.
Yeah, so I felt good. And I just did it for a good hour.
Nice. You just dropped into the routine.
Yeah.
And then what'd you get for the meal?
The Deli Rose.
The Deli Rose.
Yeah,
It's like a
most
world
expensive.
famous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like the top third in like U.S.
Yeah, for real. The
Yeah.
Deli Rose sandwich from the Yellow Deli in Rutland, Vermont.
Mm-hmm. I got that for free.
For free. Just a list of some of the foods that we got while we were at the Yellow Deli. Banana milk.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Yeah, that's the
Oh,
first
yeah.
thing I said.
Yeah.
Because I love that banana milk. Especially because, well, bananas are great. Banana milkshakes are awesome. Milk is awesome. They wanted to add honey, but I told them not to because that's just too sweet. A banana's sweet enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got multiple banana milks. I got it's called a deluxe banana bread. A thick slab. I'm talking 2-inch plus slab of banana bread with a bunch of fruit, a little bit of granola, and it was either honey. Yeah, I think it was honey slathered on top.
Most likely.
What else did I get? I got a breakfast sandwich, which was like turkey on a soft roll with egg. And how do they do it? They cook the egg so perfectly that I can't even explain it. The perfect hard yolk without having any of that crispiness that you get from overcooked eggs. I don't know how they do it. I don't know, but I want to know. Yeah, it was awesome. Got that. Anything else that you got that you remember?
Yeah, actually, Brandon, he owed me a little money,
Yep.
but we worked it out with food.
Nice.
He bought me a deluxe, so kind of the same as your bread, but it was like a cinnamon roll.
Ooh.
Had strawberries, bananas,
Ooh.
honey. It was on like I don't know what it was on at all. It
That
was
sounds
a cinnamon
good.
roll, I guess.
Sounds really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wrapped up with the Yellow Deli, and by the end of it, we just decided that we had stayed there too long.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it was time to go. So we hit the trail again, and we.
Remember that though, that early morning bus?
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
That's important too.
Yeah.
Here's a nice video of it on the video portion. Of the Diamond Express. One of the coolest names I've ever seen for a bus system.
Mm-hmm.
Diamond Express. We hop on. There's a cute chick sitting in the back. We kind of vibed for a minute.
Yep.
I ended up giving her my info. And we head up towards Killington. Back up the road that we hitchhiked down. And how did we get into Rutland?
That's what I was thinking. I don't remember.
Did we hitchhike?
We couldn't have. It's just
I think we did. I don't see us walking that whole way.
well, we did hitchhike, but I think it was straight from the parking lot for the third time.
Okay, that works. Definitely got there somehow.
Yeah.
But on the Diamond Express on our way back, really comfortable. Jump out exactly where we need to, hike right in, and then we're back on the trail just like that.
Yep.
From town to trail, smooth transition, like a fade out. We get to the first shelter, which his name is Rolston Rest Shelter. We had gotten left a note by ShamWow, who is of course a day hike ahead of us. He left us a note saying that he would wait at the next shelter, for us to catch up, and then we would continue together.
Right in the logbook.
Yep, right in the logbook. So that was really nice to get a note from somebody that you knew, just ahead of you. And just being like, okay, so now we had a clear plan. Time to keep hiking, buddy. It was 13 miles that day from Rutland to David Logan Shelter. This will be the last shelter that I cover in this episode. The next episode will pick up right where we left off, and that'll be released next week. The David Logan Shelter has a small section. Let me just find it real quick And do you remember anything about this shelter in particular?
Not too much about the shelter. I do remember ShamWow telling us about a guy that he met there that we have not met yet.
Who was that?
72.
Oh, this is where we got word of him?
Yep.
72 is in that same category as Dylan. He is a really, really cool cat. Really cool character.
Yeah, for sure.
The David Logan Shelter, 2,620 feet on Division 6 of the Long Trail. This shelter is named in memory of David Logan of Norwich, Vermont, an enthusiastic hiker, end-to-ender, and outstanding young man. It was built in 1976 with the assistance of 60 campers from the Vermont Camping Association. His family and friends provided funding for the project. The Long Trail Patrol rebuilt the shelter in 1996.
Wow.
Yep. I'm going to do some quick math here. Let me grab a pen. So, where we leave this podcast off at is on day 13 of our Long Trail trip, which, mind you, overall it took us 31 days. And mile-wise, I'll ask you a question, and then you can answer it while I do the math.
All right.
So, thinking back to what we've covered so far, is there anything that we haven't covered that you would like to? And is there any notable situations that maybe I wasn't a part of? Anything like that?
Well, right when you said that, things we haven't touched yet, I remember the bear bag we were setting up. Just that whole experience.
Okay, yeah, you can detail the bear bag.
That was cool. That was the first time I've even ever heard of a bear bag before. And we, oh my gosh, yeah. So Goddard Shelter, Glastonbury Mountain. People were talking about bears 2 shelters down, and we were like, well, that's not good. So our first thought was a bear bag, just like everybody else. So we look around the shelter. We hike kind of far out, and we don't have a rope, but the tree that we picked has a rope. Remember that?
Yep, I do remember that.
That was pretty cool.
That was an example of the trail provides.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Trail magic is more than what people give you. Trail magic is things like that.
Yeah.
Like, we needed a long cord. We needed a long rope for a bear bag. We find the tree without even having a bear rope. We find the tree that we would like to hang one in, and in the Y of the tree is a bear rope. Legit. So that's trail magic for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I found it out. It's pretty funny. I didn't have to add that up at all. It says it right on the map. So far from the southern terminus of the Long Trail to where we just stopped at David Logan's shelter, it is roughly 117 miles that we've covered so far in 13 days.
Where's the point where they separate?
We did actually cover, it was right after Main Junction, man. Oh, that's a feeling right there.
Mm-hmm.
When the Appalachian Trail breaks off from the Long Trail, it does so at just past the 100-mile mark, just after Rutland. So when we spent the time with the hikers from the Appalachian Trail in Rutland and at the Yellow Deli, that was the last time we were going to see them.
Actually, remember the way it works. So since we went before Killington,
yep,
we saw Katie Kiss and Captain Jack the last times before because they were already on the other side of Killington.
That's
remember?
true. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
They were a day ahead, but we were still seeing them.
Yeah, so we got to catch up with Acaticus and Captain Jack and McLovin, which we forgot to truly cover.
Yeah.
We'll detail him a little bit more in the next episode. And it was just when we saw that trail, we knew that okay, this was our journey now. We had learned what we needed to from the Appalachian Trail people. And when we pick up next week, we will we'll detail our journey from here on. It's been good. It's been real, and we'll catch you next week. Love you, bye.
Love you, bye.
We hope you had a good time listening to the first episode of 2 in this series, which is the recounting of our trip on the Long Trail. Stay tuned next week for the last leg of the journey, which will be from day 13 all the way up until day 31. Have a good day. Love you, bye.
Love you, bye.